Welcome to Bridge the Atlantic, where we get to know the people behind the creative industries. We are your host, music web designer Ross Barber, owner of Electric Kiwi, where we create awesome custom websites for bands, artists, and musicians.
I'm singer-songwriter for Santa Valley.
This week we're excited to welcome Paul Marc Rousseau to the show. Paul is lead guitarist for Canadian post-hardcore band Silverstein. Joining the band as a guitar tech initially, he was the natural choice to replace Neil Boshart after he left the band.
Silverstein have sold over 1 million records worldwide, have been nominated for a Juno Award, and released their 8th album, I Am Alive in Everything I Touch, in 2015. We're looking forward to hearing more about Paul's career and the advice he'd offer to fellow musicians. Hey, Paul, how's it going, brother?
Hey, guys.
I'm pretty sure I just said brother. Pretty sure it just came out. I was going to say, how's it going, bro? And, you know, when, like, the words just kind of meshed all together and become, like, a mess of, like, some new word.
Yeah, I prefer the long form. It's good.
Yeah. How's it going?
Dude, it's going good. It's very snowy in Toronto right now, which is, it's nice to look at, but it's bad to feel it.
Exactly. I don't mind snow around the Christmas time, but as soon as Christmas is done with and we're in the new year, it's like, spring, please, now, give it to me.
Yeah, they keep teasing us with it, but, whatever. I chose to live here, and I choose to continue living here, so here we go.
Exactly. Let's jump right into it, though. I want you to tell me 3 things about yourself that everyone should know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a private person, so I guess this counts as one, but this also means that there are many things I don't want people to know about me, you know what I mean? I'm trying to keep it. I think things that people probably know, I'm a Montreal Canadiens hockey fan. This is the thing that makes a lot of people want to fight me. So the last thing I'll say about myself is I'm a very bad fighter, so please don't try and fight me. I've never punched anyone in my entire life.
Me too. Yeah, I've never ever been in a fight so far.
You want to be each other's first punches?
There you go.
We could arrange that.
Do it on screen or something, or just a fist pump. I've been in one fist fight in my life. I was I was in grade 7 or 8. I was getting bullied. I was getting picked on by this one kid like every day. And then I would just kind of take it. And then this one day I just lost it. I was like, that's it. And it went from like me never punching at all to punching this guy like 8 times in a row. But he deserved it. It wasn't like I'm not a violent person, but he never bothered me after that.
That's a good fight, man. Well done.
The greatest part about that, I remember, is the principal actually took me aside and suspended the kid, which was awesome. He was he realized it was good. Sometimes there's good people in the video. Yes, it was, exactly. So I'm going to start this out by telling you, or showing you the shirt I'm wearing here.
Yeah, I noticed.
This is old school. This is before you were even in the band. This is years before. Yeah, I had this. I actually had to look through my closet, and I'm like, I know I have it. Where is it? Because I haven't worn it long.
So that's why you took so long to get here.
Yeah, that's why. That because I was putting my 3-year-old to sleep. But
well, we'll have to send you a new one.
There we go. Yeah, do that, man. So how you been since then? We used to actually, I don't know if Ross knows this or anyone knows this, but we used to play some shows together way back in the day. I'm talking like, what is this, like a decade ago? We were just teenagers.
Gotta be close to that, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen you. I don't think I've talked to you since then.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. I think, since then, busy, a lot of kind of lifestyle shakeups. I mean, obviously Silverstein, we still played like 160 shows last year.
Oh, wow.
So it's
which is nothing for Silverstein though, right?
Pardon me?
Which is nothing for Silverstein though, because you guys are kind of crazy.
Yeah, we'd play 365 if we could, but flying takes a long time, I guess. So it's been really busy. It's been great. There's been a lot of opportunities to do cool stuff that I've wanted to do since I was young, and now that I'm old, I'm doing it.
Now that you're old.
I think you're younger than both of us, actually. I checked your date of birth on Wikipedia. You're younger than both of us.
What is it, 86?
89.
89?
Yeah.
Okay, don't say you're old, man. We're older than you, okay? Don't do that shit to us.
Really old.
I know, we're like the grandparents or something.
Yeah, that's it. We're like, well, I'm a dad. 2 times.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you were part of Silverstein's family, the touring family, I should say, before you joined the band. How long did that go on for? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think I want to say it was 2007, and I had just left a band that I was playing in, feeling pretty, rudderless, I guess.
Is that the band that we used to play together?
Cain and Abel.
That's the band. I couldn't think of the name. There we go.
Yeah. Cool. So, I had just kind of out of high school. I just left Cain and Abel, didn't really know what I was doing. A really close friend of mine, Richard Fernandez, who now runs New Damage Records, which actually we just signed to. So it's kind of weird how that came full circle. But he at the time was drum teching for Silverstein, and he said, why don't you come on tour for a few days get your mind off things. And I did. And immediately, like right after the first show, I was like, I want to work. Like, this seems like a great job. A lot of fun. You know, I kind of know all these guys. And so, yeah, at the end of those 4 days, it was the last day of the tour in Quebec City, I think. I asked Neil if he was interested in hiring me as a guitar tech. And he said, can you tune a guitar? And I said, yes. Which was true. And so, yeah, next tour I started. So it was early 2008, I remember. February 2008, I think. So from 2008 to like 2012, I'd been working for them in some capacity, either guitar teching or selling merch.
Very nice. What would you say you learned being on the road with them for all those years that kind of helped you when you actually became a member of the band?
I mean, certainly like a really, really huge component of touring is relationships, right? Like how you're able to get along with the people you're on the road with. And so, I mean, I don't know if this lesson has extended to me touring with other bands, but for sure, getting along with Silverstein, I've learned, I took those 4 years to like, you know, you just get accustomed to everyone's quirks, what people like, what they don't like, you know, and maybe people know what I like and don't like. So like, I get really upset when people leave their shit everywhere.
Me too.
I have to like move someone's clothes or backpack to sit down. I get furious and I stuff it in their bunk and they all know it was me that did that.
Do you leave little passive aggressive notes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I did that once. I had a flatmate. We were sharing our flat and he took all the cutlery and hoarded it in his room and all the plates. So my other flatmate and I had to share a chopping board to eat our dinner off one night. So I left him a little note in the drawer saying, something like, oh, this drawer is sad. All the cutlery is gone. Can you please return it home? He did not like that. He did not like that. He then went to a whole other level with passive aggressive notes.
No.
And took like massive bits of paper and like wrote like how much he hated living there and plastered it all over the kitchen and then stormed out.
That's not passive aggressive.
That's just aggressive.
That's
actually,
like
that's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. So, so you don't use
to a verbal dispute. I should say, bring a gun to a verbal dispute.
So I would probably suggest don't do the passive aggressive note thing on a tour bus because you're in a confined space and that could probably actually end up with you being in your first fist fight.
Right. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
All right. Noted. That's good advice.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah.
That's what we do on this show, really. Well, speaking of being on a tour bus, you've toured all over the world. Do you have any highlights or any cool stories you can share with us?
I mean, the whole thing really, if you strip it down and kind of take yourself out of it, it is sort of just like one nice big highlight. I mean, I've got to travel to a lot of cool places and been greeted with a rock show. So, I mean, that's great. But I'd say like the most interesting one, we I don't know why we decided to do this tour. It just like kind of came about in this like really piecemeal way that no one really noticed how much of a nightmare it was going to be. But we started in Ukraine and then we drove to Belarus and then to St. Petersburg, Russia, then took a train to Moscow, then flew into Germany and did sort of Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Belgium, Netherlands, then flew to Adelaide, Australia from there and did a full Australian tour, then flew to Hawaii and did Hawaii and then home. So and it was in March. So we were packing for literally every possible climate.
So it was really relaxed and just chill. And
it was so hectic. We used like every possible form of transportation.
Oh my God.
You know, every type of, all the different like sort of geological things you could see. I mean, it was just really interesting, but the most taxing 3 weeks of my life for sure.
That was 3 weeks. That's insane.
There were no days off. It was just, if there was a day off, it was because we were on a plane or having to drive, you know, I mean, those Eastern European drives are not short drives.
No.
Even like to get from St. Petersburg to Moscow, that's an overnight train. So, I mean, the overnight train in Russia is something, if you ever get to go to Russia, you have to do it. It's like, it feels like it's the 70s still. It's very...
Wait, isn't that a famous train? What's that one called? I thought it was...
Is it the Siberian Express?
Is one. I really would love to go into Siberia. Okay. We've never done it. We were supposed to on this last time. We just went back to Russia, actually. And we were supposed to do some dates in Siberia, but it didn't pan out. And we were going to take that train. That would have been a dream. It's like the Darjeeling Limited of Russia.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, it wasn't that, unfortunately. I mean, it's a pretty popular commuter train. I guess in Russia, lots of people got to go back and forth, and we were some of those people, and it's a very strange experience.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was a big one. I mean, even in that time, actually, we were supposed to have a day off. I'm remembering this now. This was a couple of years ago, but we were supposed to have a day off we were supposed to fly from Germany, get to Australia, and then have a day off in Australia to like sort of acclimate because the time zone basically. And it's a really long flight. And we got to the airport in Frankfurt when we were leaving, and they said, oh yeah, I know you guys have status with our airline, and that's what this is ticketed under, but it's actually being operated by another flight, so your baggage is going to cost you about 15,000 euros.
Oh shit!
We're like, no. Check that again. There's no way. And the airline is always right. So yeah, they were right, and they said the next flight that will honor your status is like 11 hours from now. And at this point, our bus is already gone. We have nowhere to go. So yeah, our day off got ruined, and we sat in the Frankfurt airport for 11 hours.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah, airports are not fun to be stuck in for any length of time.
And I mean, the whole flying experience is like extra stressful for me because I'm a cigarette smoker. So once you're through security, you can't do anything. I mean, in 11 hours, I had time to go in and out. So it was like kind of very chill, but yeah, it's bad. The whole thing stresses me out. I'm stressed out just thinking about it.
I can feel it.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask, because I was doing, quite a bit of research. I was reading the AMA you guys did on Reddit, and it seems like you're quite into meeting and hanging out with your fans at shows. So I'd just like to ask, in your opinion, how important is it for artists and bands to meet and hang out with their fans when they're touring?
I mean, it's paramount. It's like, as the artist, it's really, I think, important to like every night and go see and meet and like hear from the people that you're making music for. And there's no better way to stay in touch with your audience. And there's, it's really gratifying, especially if you're having a bad day. And that's like the toughest time to do it, I think, too. If like, say I've had like a really terrible show, or I'm sick, or whatever it is, I'm just burnt out. Mm-hmm. It's like, once you just force yourself to get off the bus and go talk to some people, they're so welcoming and, so warm. Yeah, it really just keeps you in touch with those people. And on the other side of that coin, I mean, there's nothing the fans want more than to meet the band they came to see. And so it's like a really, win-win situation. Both sides of the exchange benefit from that sort of interaction.
Well, have you been on the flip side of it where you've gone to see one of your favorite bands and gotten to meet them?
I'm way too scared to do that.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I feel like, well, to be fair, like a lot of my favorite bands when I was younger, I've now since become friends with based on, this new line of work. But even, when was the last time I saw a band so twice this has happened to me. Once, you guys know the band Propagandhi?
Sure. Yeah.
So the singer Propagandhi, Chris Hanna, is like a hero of mine, I would say. If I have heroes, he's definitely one of them.
Right.
And once we played a show in Winnipeg, and we went to a bar across the road, and he was standing at the bar right next to me wearing a Leafs hat, which pissed me off, obviously, because I know he's a Leafs fan. But I couldn't say anything to him. I was way too scared to talk to him. Oh. And so I don't know. I think it would be presumptuous of me to say that our fans feel that way about us as I do about Chris Hanna. Right. But in the case that they do, I commend them for being the bravest people in the world, because I don't know how you get the gall to do that sort of thing. It's so scary.
See, I remember that whenever I would go to gigs, I'd always be waiting outside to meet the bands, and the ones that actually came out and spoke to us, I remember that, and every time I listened to them, I think that it was really nice that they came out and they took the time to sort of sign our tickets and like say hey.
Absolutely.
But then there were some members of certain bands who didn't come out and speak to us, and it kind of just sours that kind of relationship that I've got with the music just a little bit. I understand, bad days, tired, not want to spend time with them, right. But it makes such a big difference as a fan when an artist takes the time to even just say, hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
That sticks with
100%,
you,
man.
as a fan.
No, that's totally true. Yeah, you don't want, what do I mean to say here? Like the act of going out and talking to fans, and you know, the relationship that sort of builds, like that puts a whole, like it stacks a new tier on top of the existing tier. Like if level one is you're a fan of this certain band, to like get to know someone in that band, even sort of personally, definitely like breeds a new connection, which is amazing for sure. The scary thing that happens sometimes is, so say, there's been times where I've been, I don't know, maybe kind of drunk or in a bad mood or really jet lagged and tired or whatever it might be, but my mood is altered, and I'll have an interaction with a fan and later hear from another band member that they thought I was a jerk.
Oh,
it's like, man, I really wasn't trying to be a jerk. I thought I was being nice by coming out. Like I really want to just be in bed right now.
Yeah.
So
I guess because there's no obligation for you to do that, you know, but you still did it.
Right. I mean, I guess that's the thing is like when, like I want to go out and talk, everybody wants to do that in Silverstein. We're like very, very, you know, we take that really seriously and we really want to do it. But at times when we can't, and then we make the time, it's like when people feel entitled to that sort of interaction is when, you know what I mean? When it's not gratitude and it's not like a two-way street and it's just pure entitlement.
Right.
It's kind of a frustrating thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's rare that happens, I should say, but it does.
Well, you know, I want to know, like, how did you get into Silverstein from being on the road with them? What was the actual moment when they said, hey, join the band? Wait, I think you already answered this, didn't you?
I kind of did. I didn't really talk about the exact way that it happened. There's sort of like a moment that is important in the story, which is while I was working for them, I want to say it was 2009 or 10. We had just gotten off a US tour, or an Australian tour rather. We did Soundwave in Australia, and we were slated to leave for a European tour like only a couple days later. On that tour, Josh had to sit next to a really, really fat man on a plane, and he had to sit all weird, and it ended up screwing up his back somehow. It almost seems like too weird to be true, but it's true. And so the day that we were going to fly to Europe, I mean, everyone was either at the airport or on their way. Josh kind of made a call that was, I can't come on this tour. I'm in too much pain. I can't even lie down. I'm in trouble. And so he asked if he thought I could learn the whole set basically on the plane. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I think for sure I can do that. And so I learned, I think it was 17 songs.
Oh, wow.
That I learned. Yeah, I just started thinking about it. And then when I got there, I kind of ran through them with Neil, oddly. And and I ended up selling merch on that tour and sort of guitar teching and playing all the shows. And I did it on such short notice that I think in 2012, when they parted ways with Neil, I think Paul just called me and said, like, basically, do you still remember those songs? Do you want to play?
That's perfect. Why would they bother finding someone else when you already know them and you've already kind of proven yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
and they already like you. And
you guys are already friends, and
yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So, I'd like to know. We do this show primarily to help aspiring independent artists and give them advice. Have people like yourselves come on and share real world advice, things that people can actually use. So for an artist who wants to start touring, it's really important to tour, but they don't know where the hell to start. Do you have any advice, or maybe when artists should start touring, and just how they can get on the road?
Yeah, touring it is a tough one because it's like very, very expensive, and it's easy to do. It's easy to do it the wrong way, I would say. It's easy to do it maybe too early. Because I think the number one thing with, being a musician, being a band, being an artist, whatever it is the songs have to be good. Like you've got to be sure that what you're making musically is solid. And you think that it's in its sort of final form enough that you are willing to spend the money and take it on the road. Because I mean, a van is not cheap and equipment isn't cheap, and, gas is not cheap, especially as a Canadian band now going into the States. You're going to pay 30% more for all of these things. I mean, it's really expensive. So I think the number one thing for me is like not even about how or when to get on tour, but when you have to be like self-aware enough and self-critical enough to know that you're putting out a product that you want other people to see. I think too many bands rush into it with sort of bad material or weaker material than they're capable of producing. So that's my number one thing, I think. Not so much like, buy a van here or, talk to these people or hit these cities, but like before you even think about that, like make sure you've got good songs, because it's going to be the first impression that so many people are going to have of you. You got to be able to pull it off.
Well, the thing I find really impressive with Silverstein is the fact that you guys have been able to sell over 1 million records, and you're not signed to a major label. You as far as I know, you guys have always been on indie labels. Which is amazing that, not to say major labels are the only ones that can get you recognized, because obviously that's not the case. And it's such a small percentage of artists who actually get seen. But basically what I'm trying to get at is, what's your opinion on the idea of having a long-term career versus, bands who think like, let's just try to get signed right away and, sell millions of records. Because the way Silverstein's gone is, you guys have been around for well over a decade, and, have been able to consistently sell records to now say you've sold over 1 million records,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that well. It's a good thing I don't have a podcast or anything. It's not like anyone's listening. We talk. Fuck.
But
It's just one of those days. Sorry, listeners.
The relationship between like albums sold or, longevity and popularity and a record label, say.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there was a time when that was a really, there was like obviously a strong correlation there. 'Cause before the internet was really a thing, which when Silverstein started was the case. They tell me stories of like touring when they had paper maps. That seems ridiculous to me, but, and like one cell phone they all shared. Mm-hmm. But, I think now, interestingly, it seems like because albums are selling less, there's less revenue coming in from, albums sold. Labels are a lot choosier about bands they sign. There's less labels taking risks.
Yeah, absolutely.
The like kind of sign everything and see what sticks model is sort of gone by the wayside. And so now we're seeing labels not pull the trigger on bands until this band has already built themselves to a level where it's a certainty.
And then my question is anymore.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of seems like a strange thing to me. That said, like we just signed to Rise and it's been great. They're really supportive of everything we want to do, and they facilitate sort of larger things that we would never be able to do on our own.
Absolutely.
But for bands just starting out, the things that they're going to want are probably, they want people to listen to their music. And if they've already built that profile by themselves, I think just the ball's more in your court than I think bands want to believe.
I think Silverstein has been a testament to how to have a long-lasting career that just, is enduring. And, I've seen a lot of the other bands that I remember back in the day that Silverstein used to play with. Now I sound old. Back in the day, they've kind of disappeared. They're gone. But Silverstein's still there. Ross and I, we've mentioned it, but we've talked about it before. Just anytime Silverstein comes up, we're like, man, they're still going. Good for them, man. And they're still kicking ass and still, playing all over the world and selling out shows. I think that's awesome. And, and who knows, you don't know exactly what it is. It's the songs. It's the fact that maybe you guys, have a connection with your audience. There's so many factors to it, but just fucking keep rocking.
Probably a combination of all the right things.
Absolutely.
Like so many things.
You've got to be really lucky for sure. It's also, I think, a testament to hard work. We don't take, metaphorically speaking, we don't take days off. We work really hard touring. We work really hard writing. We've never been a band since I've been here and before, never been a band that's been like, why don't we just take 6 months off and, we'll come back to this. Like we don't do that. It's an all year, everyday thing in some way or another. We're always making videos or, trying to do something new.
Are you ready for 20 questions?
Yes, I am actually.
Let's do this.
Practicing.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Meat or veggies?
Both. I don't have to choose, do I?
Yes, you have to choose. TV or Netflix?
Netflix.
Twitter or Facebook?
Twitter.
Yoga or yogurt?
Pass.
Indie or major?
Indie.
Breaking Bad or Homeland?
Breaking Bad, for sure. Homeland stinks.
Best show ever, eh?
Homeland's propaganda. It makes me sick.
Bryan Adams or Ryan Adams?
I'm going Bryan Adams.
Nice. I grew up with him, man. Like,
what a guy.
My aunts and everyone, my mom, all of them listen to him, and it's a great songwriter. Honestly, he's a great songwriter. Great songwriting. Foo Fighters or Nirvana?
Nirvana.
You have to think about that one.
No, yeah. I'm not a Foo Fighters guy at all.
Now, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one, and I'm not going to take this personally. Canada or Scotland?
Mm.
It's actually thinking about it.
Yeah, you know.
Wow.
I really, really like Scotland. I think it's great. I don't know. I haven't lived there. We've got some problems here that I hope our new PM is going to solve.
Yeah.
Or at least come close to solving. So I'm going to say tentatively Canada. Tentatively.
Or possibly moving to Scotland.
Be nice though, Canada. Don't push it, you know?
Family Guy or American Dad?
Oh, Family Guy, I guess. OG.
Why I guess. Like what would you pick out of adult animated cartoon series? Right.
Oh, Rick and Morty.
Yeah. I've never watched that.
You gotta watch it. It's the best show on television.
How about Archer? You ever watch Archer?
Yes, it's like that kind of. It's Adult Swim still, I guess. But it's like
I gotcha.
way funnier.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, me too. Education or experience?
Man, that's tough. How am I supposed to one word this? I guess. I mean, I didn't go to college, so I'm gonna
say yes. Like yes. What's that? Sorry, man.
I didn't go to college, so I'm gonna say experience, but I think education is very important.
Well, experience has worked out for you, so
exactly.
That's all right. We're asking your opinion, right? But stay in school, right, kids?
I wish I could still go to school, actually.
Who knows? I don't know why this has been a question, Ross, but Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Oh, I would have said Drake up until like a week ago, but I just listened to Pimp a Butterfly and it's insane. So Kendrick.
Now we're going back a few years here. But Taking Back Sunday or The Used?
The Used. I think The Used. Yes, The Used.
3 times. He knows it's The Used. Michael Jackson or Michael Bolton?
Oh, Michael Jackson for sure.
Michael Jackson. You don't like the power grab?
I mean, I think Michael Bolton's hilarious, but
Celine Dion or Marilyn Manson?
That's a really weird sort of.
It sure is, but the whole point of this 20 questions is to get our listeners, our listeners and your fans to learn more about you. So that helps. That really helps the distinction.
Sure, yeah.
Like Celine Dion and Marilyn Manson, right?
I mean, I guess Marilyn Manson. I think Celine's really cool, though. Yeah,
her voice is phenomenal. I mean, I grew up. I was a huge fan of Marilyn Manson when I was younger. I still love him as a person. His music, the last few albums. Sorry, Manson, but I think he's just a all around awesome artist. But Celine Dion, man,
she got pipes.
It's a very tough call. I don't feel good about making that call. Just so we're clear,
I often will suggest Celine Dion dressed as Marilyn Manson can be an answer. Or Marilyn Manson dressed as Celine Dion. that would be even more interesting.
That's probably already happened.
Probably.
But
Ricky Gervais or Ricky Martin?
Ricky Gervais for sure. I was just watching some cuts of his hosting of the Golden Globes actually last night. He's funny.
I'm just gonna go out and say he does not give a fuck.
No,
he's awesome.
What I love him for. He just doesn't care. If anyone wants to just like lose their mind in awkwardness, go look up the clip of Ricky Gervais this year, 2016, and Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
It was the most
That's what I watched last night. It's good.
But man, does he have balls. He just does not give a shit. It's awesome. Whale or kale?
Whale? What's whale?
Just like a whale.
Oh, a whale then, yeah.
So it's best not to try to make sense of this. We don't really know what the fuck we're doing. We just,
Yeah.
I imagine you could ride a whale and you can't ride kale, so whale.
No, we can't. You can eat kale, though.
I could eat a whale. You couldn't.
Oh, Paul. Okay, Ross, you carry on. I'm going to sit here and cry.
We have another rhyming question because we love rhyming. Bette Midler or the Riddler?
Bette Midler, because I think I hate Bette Midler, but that's what makes me love her, you know?
And the final question, I'm just going to come out and say it. This guy, Ross, or Marcio?
Well, Marcio's wearing the Silverstein shirt, so sorry, Ross, but I mean, he pandered to my interests.
I did pander to you. I pandered to you.
That's true. And yeah.
I almost makes me sick that I did that when you think about it. No, and I still won, but hey, it teaches you something
there's
about
been
the
other
world.
times when you've done this and it hasn't actually worked in your favor.
Hey, if I happen to have
this one time it paid off.
When did that not work in my favor? Oh, I can't think
It's
of it.
happened a few times. I think you've blacked them out.
Yeah, I block them out. So obviously, people can find you guys at silversteinmusic.com. Your Twitter is Paul Marc, Mark with C, right? And Silverstein is Silverstein. Facebook is Silverstein Music. Do you have a Facebook you want to share with anyone, or an Instagram, or just Twitter is the best place?
Yeah, I mean,
a phone number, a mailing address.
Just it's a 1-800 hotline bling.
There we go. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's good. From Twitter, you can get the rest of the stuff.
Perfect. And as for me, I'm currently working on my second solo album, and you can actually get my side project, Midnight Soundtracks debut album Foreplay, for free. You can hear my music on marcionovelli.com. That's marcionovelli.com. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify, which are all /marcionovelli. And finally, I recently released my award-winning album documentary, Walking Proof, for free as well. It documents the making of my debut full-length solo album. You can download that and watch that for free at marcionovelli.com/walkingproof.
I'm working on websites for various artists at the moment. I'm also in the early stages of my first book. You can check out my work and my blog at electrickiwi.co.uk. You'll find me on Twitter and Instagram as Electric Kiwi, and on Facebook, Electric Kiwi Design.
This episode is brought to you by Chris Keaton Presents and Alyssa Parma. Find out more about what Chris does and how he can help you at chriskeaton.com, and check out Alyssa's new music video, Fight, on YouTube. All links in the show notes.
And if you'd like to sponsor the show, visit patreon.com/bridgetheatlantic.
Paul, this has been awesome, brother. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for watching Bridge the Atlantic. If you like what you saw, make sure to like, favorite, and most importantly, subscribe so that you don't miss each week's episode.
Please feel free to leave us a comment letting us know what you think of the show.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and subscribe to us on iTunes so that you can listen to us on the go. Thanks again for being awesome, and we'll see you on next week's episode.